Hey, this is Steve. So this painting came about primarily because of the brick, but there is somewhat of a story behind it. My family is from a town on the southeastern corner of Kansas near the Missouri border. It's a little town called Pittsburg, Kansas. And originally, the whole town of Pittsburg was paved with these bricks. All the roads and all the sidewalks had these bricks in them. And these are big bricks, by the way. They're several pounds and larger than the normal size brick that we see today. In fact, when I was creating the painting, or several times, I held the brick up to the painting because I was thinking maybe I was painting the brick too big, but turned out I wasn't. The brick in the painting is actually life size. But this town was all the roads in this town were paved with these bricks, and the town was a hub for my family when I was young. My mom and dad, were born there and they grew up there. And when I was young in the 60s and 70s, we went back a lot. And, my mother's brothers would come back, and my dad's sisters and my cousins were there and so forth. So the town was kind of a hub for our family. And as a little kid, I was back there a lot, but every time I went back, I always thought it was amazing that neighborhoods in this town or side streets and so forth were paved in brick, because I just didn't see that were in the towns that I grew up in. And I'd say up until the mid 1970s, there were still neighborhoods in the town that still had brick roads. I mean, you could drive through them, and they had swoops in them, and they were a little bit rough because they'd been there for a long time, but they were still paved in brick. And even the roads that were covered over with asphalts in some of the neighborhoods, a lot of the sidewalks in the neighborhoods were still made out of brick. And in the early 1980s, 81 or 82, my girlfriend, who's my wife now, went back with me to meet my grandparents and some of my uncles. And she had mentioned to both my grandfathers that she really liked the fact and thought it was really interesting that in the neighborhoods there that the sidewalks were still made out of brick. So one of my grandfathers went out and dug up one of the bricks out of the sidewalk and gave it to her. And when my other grandfather heard about it, he went out and dug one out of his sidewalk and gave it to her too. So we've had two of these bricks in our house, ever since we've been married. So I had created several paintings over the years with these bricks, but it's probably been, I'm going to say 10, 12 years since I had created a painting with one. And the other day I was cleaning up some area in one of my bookshelves, and one of the bricks were up there, and I pulled it down and kind of started feeling nostalgic about it. So decided to do a painting with it. So I created the painting, and the reason for the mason jar in the painting was, as I was doing it, I was kind of nostalgic about this, and I started thinking as I was setting this up about how things change and how things are fragile, that Pittsburg, Kansas was a hub in my family's life. And even though I have an uncle that lives there still that I'm very fond of, it's not the town's not the hub of our life like it was. So things change, and while I'm lucky enough to still have my parents, my grandparents are gone now, and it's things are different. And I use that glass mason jar to kind of represent that concept in my life, at least in my mind. So at the end of it, this is a very personal painting for me, and I really, really like it. As it turned out, I can be a pretty harsh critic of my own paintings, but I like this one. I like the brushwork. I like the light that came in it, and what the painting means to me is kind of significant. So really like the painting, and I hope that you enjoy it too. Thank you.